Mr. Agnew.
Thank you. Well, I think this is fascinating, seeing two at the top table. They're having a real go at one another. Perhaps the most interesting debate I've ever been involved in here. The Court of Auditors is about the one EU institution I do respect because they do confront the Commission with reality. And there's some reality here. 40% of the CAP budget has got to be spent on climate action. Back of the envelope, that's about £20 billion a year, and so the auditors are bound to be interested in this sort of expenditure. So when they visit a farm to audit what the farmer is doing, actually it's fairly easy for the farmer to demonstrate that he is doing what he should be doing. He can say, I've abandoned 20% of arable land, I'm no longer running tractors on that, no longer drying the crops that came off that, I'm saving CO2, box ticked. He can then say to the auditor, I am producing less methane off my farm because I've reduced my ruminant numbers. He can then say to the auditor, I have reduced my nitrous oxide emissions because I've sprayed out all the clover in my pastures. And these things you can see. Easy. Box ticked. But of course, what is the net result of that? Far less food produced off that farm and probably jobs lost. Where are we going? But the purpose of all of this was, of course, to improve the world's weather, or at least the weather over Europe. Well, good luck with that, auditor, because I think you'll find that very hard to find. But what on the positive side? What could be done here? What is a big problem? Anti-microbial resistance. We could and ought to be putting money into beefing up biosecurity on farms. The auditors could check that was happening. We could be putting money into research to try and breed livestock that were tolerant to these diseases so they didn't need the treatment. That could be audited. We could be giving compensation for culling. That could be audited. We could be giving grants for better ventilation. And the whole thing could be audited by, is there a drop in antibiotic use? Thank you very much.
Now, on the new delivery model in relation to legality and regularity of payments. The new delivery model is a thought-through system which offers an alternative to the current system that has been heavily criticised by many, including the Court in the past, for being too complex and not enough focused on performance and results. And now that we have produced a proposal to do so, we are criticised as well. We have united Mr Agnew, Mr Figueiredo and myself in terms of the fact that he doesn't agree with either of us. But the issue of legality and regularity is a good example. The proposals make it clear that the new model will be based on performance and results. And there will be all of the indicators, all of the objectives, all of the interventions will be in the basic act. This is what is in the legislative proposal. So maybe people haven't studied this to the extent that we have seen through the proposal, but all of these issues that have been mentioned that should be in the basic legislation of the European Union are in the proposal published in June.